Welcome to the Dannyola Show, where we don't judge, we love, we appreciate, we educate, we elevate, and we motivate. Today, I have a distinct pleasure of welcoming a powerhouse in the realms of strategy and leadership. She's renowned as a celebrity political strategist, crisis management expert, and high performance coach. Am I hyping up too much, or it ain't enough? Let me continue to tell you what else she done, y'all. She has been instrumental in guiding public figures and organizations through complex challenges. Her career also includes roles of television producer, philanthropist, and inclusion educator, reflecting her commitment to empowering others and driving meaningful change. I give you Dr. Shatonna J. Nelson. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Man, I'm good on this lovely morning. So how was 2025 treating you so far?
2025 has been demanding and divine.
Okay.
Right? It's been stretching me.
Okay.
But it's also been anchoring me a little bit deeper into what I believe that I'm called to do, right?
Okay.
So I've always believed that pressure reveals purpose. And I think this year has been reflective of that for me.
Okay. Did you want to dive in deep on that, or you want to?
So I've been getting to explore areas that I've touched before. I've had the ability to walk into greater roles in a television space.
Okay.
And I've been called to kind of be more proactive in some organizations within the educational realm.
Man.
So that's been big for me.
So you just all over the place. You here, you there, you there.
Yeah.
But look, hey, what they say with God ordained is shall sustain, for real.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so give us a little, introduction of about yourself and where people can find you, your website, how they can book you, book your services, etc.
Okay, so I am Shatonna Nelson, but if you're looking for me on social media, in most places, I am pretty _ strategic. Strategic. It's a play off a nickname that a client gave me at the beginning. You can find services for a PR firm that I own and operate, but has obviously publicists and stuff that do it. TheFinestHourPR.com. The Finest Hour is on most social media platforms, as am I, under Pretty Strategic. And there should be emails on all of those for you to reach out to me and to find me. So, I'm a little bit of everywhere. So if you find the websites, if you find the social media, you can also click a link and someone with my team generally responds within about 24 hours.
Okay. Talk about time management skills. I love it. So you transitioned from public relations to becoming a celebrity political strategist. What inspired this shift, and how have your previous experiences informed your current roles?
So honestly, the shift wasn't a career move. It was like more of a calling. So I started out in public relations, and it taught me the art of message and influence, right? But then celebrity and political strategy demanded me to go into like a deeper space, not just to craft the narrative, but fight injustice behind the scenes and behind them, right? So my journey managing crisis communications and protecting public figures and navigating high stakes platforms was perfect training ground for the political arena. I think I just took everything I learned and I applied it and made it work. It was kind of like, I know it wasn't a transition. Like I tell people all the time, like I had this firm, but I was always a strategist. So I originally got into public relations because I said, hey, look, I want to, amplify voices. But somehow everybody's like, yeah, but you're a strategist. So can you create this strategy plan for this and do this? And I did. So I kept the baby alive. But, I elevated higher to do what I'm called to do. I would say at this point in life, I think you get called to do things over and over again. There's always a new calling that's going to come knocking.
Man, I definitely love to hear that, man. You out here inspiring folks. Hey, y'all better be listening up and taking notes. Man, she was called to do it. That means you got to listen to that voice. You got to have your ears, your eyes, and everything open and be obedient to what you are called to do. So, what motivated you to establish Finest Hour PR in 2017, and what challenges did you face during its inception?
I started the Finest Hour PR because Black women, and Black people in general, I felt like they had been overlooked, underestimated,
Okay.
underpresented, and I was like, yeah, I want to be the person that helps them because I had the education and the backing and the understanding, So I wanted to build a firm that didn't just get press. I wanted it to be like legacy moments for people that look like me and people that didn't look like me, but for sure the people that looked like me that I felt like they were either getting things taken from them or they just didn't necessarily have the voice or the platforms that most people had. And then you said the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge, I started out with zero capital. I didn't really have connections. And I'd been through so many things in my personal life that I would consider myself a very sad or broken person. Like my spirit was in a sense broken. And I think I had clarity. So I think that was probably the hardest things, but I learned sometimes having clarity is better than having credentials.
Ooh, I ain't never heard that before. She out here teaching me something, y'all. Man. So, to go back to what you said, because a lot of times when people don't have the capital and everything, they just kind of just give up and just say,
Right.
you know what, it's not going to work.
Right.
So, you said you had the clarity, but what motivated you to just keep going?
I think, and I say this as humbly as possible, I'm just the kind of person that don't quit. Right?
Okay.
I don't think everybody necessarily has that, but I think it's something I learned. Robert Collier said that success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Okay.
And I think that lived in my head for a really long time. I just made a decision that for a long time I was like, what should I do? What is my purpose? And I had like regular jobs and went to school and I did things. And then it was something calling me. And I said, if I got to work my regular job and do this, that I would do it, but I wouldn't stop. And I think that's what I mean by clarity. Once you know this is for me, once you feel it, I mean, you're going to have failures, things are going to happen. But I think you say, yeah, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is for me. This is what I'm supposed to be called to do. And I think I'm the kind of person that once I know, like, this is for me, yeah, only Jesus himself could probably come down and tell me, okay, all right,
Yeah.
this is not for you, right? Because as long as I've prayed and I've gotten that clarity and God has been like, yeah, that's for you, like I'm not nothing. And I fail a lot. I still fail all the time. I enjoy failures because failures always teach me something. I hate to even call them failures. I'm always like, I teach my staff, oh, you had a learning moment today?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I had a learning moment today, right? So the learning moments. So I'm just the kind of person that doesn't, once I have clarity about it, once I know this is for me, I don't care who with me, what resources I have. If I have the money in my pocket or not, it's got to happen because it's for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get it.
Boy, that sounds like faith in works, huh? I know the words say
all that.
faith without works is dead, huh?
All that. Yeah.
So what inspired you to launch the We the Women podcast, and what core message do you aim to convey through it?
Deep frustration is what caused that, right? I was looking at the country and I was seeing what was happening in a political climate and how it felt like people that looked like me, particularly women, was losing the voice and the choice, right? So the podcast became a protest and platform for me. And we're recording now, so the episodes have not come out. They will actually come out like right mid-summer. We'll kind of start rolling out the promo and stuff for it because I wanted to like get it so it can grow because I'm really a busy person. And it's a space where women don't have to shrink to fit. In the world, in the strategy world and other worlds, and politicals for sure, I've at some point had to shrink to fit until I got in. And once I got in, I was like, yeah, I don't need a seat at the table. I'm the table. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a opportunity to say we don't have to shrink to fit because we are the conversation. Like you give us anything and we turn it into something. You give me a house, I'm gonna make it a home. You know, you give me the seed, I'm gonna make the baby. You understand? You give me a whole bunch of ingredients, I'm gonna make the meal.
Yeah.
Because that's what it means to be a woman.
Okay.
You know? So for me, it was about doing that. It's for me a very simple message. And the message to me is like, we're not waiting for permission to lead. We're not waiting for permission to be who we are, right? I'm not trying to be a man. I'm not trying to be anything more than a woman. And because I am a woman, let me explain to you how powerful that is. So I think it was birthed out of that of women being ready to say, I'm here. I'm here to stay.
Okay. Sheesh, man. You out here preaching to me, man. Let me go ahead and get you a napkin, man. Wipe the sweat. I have to sweat off.
Preaching. Right.
Okay, so my bad, y'all. So who have been your mentors and how have they influenced your career trajectory?
I've had powerful mentors. Some I've met, some I've studied. Right. Okay. So I have a very powerful background of women. Right. My grandmother and her twin. I've seen them lead communities. Right. My great grandmother on my mom's side was the very first African American to sue a white guy in her area and lead and win it. Right.
Okay.
So I had that, but then of course the Maya Angelos and people like that the Mother Teresa's that I've gotten to study them. And I think people sometimes think mentorship is about the person calling you and giving you insight. And what I've learned about mentorship, it's more or less about the people you really study. You're studying how they move, how they talk, how they walk, how graceful it is when it's not graceful. And so that means you'll even have mentors of people of like, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
In some kind of way, that's a mentorship. And I think that's what mentorship was for me. And it shaped, like my mother and women like that shaped my resilience versus, you know, the other women bold in politics and everything else. They taught me, they all gave me pieces of what I wanted to look like and what I wanted that to look like. And I think there's some gentlemen, some men in that too. They showed me, oh, I like that attribute. I like this value. I like that. And I think that's what mentorship is, just pulling from those spaces, whether distant or an actual mentor, if that makes sense.
Nah, it make all the sense, man. Like I said, you speaking facts around here.
I'm trying to record myself. I can give you some promo later. And I can honestly say I'm so grateful for my team. Shout out to all the people that run cameras and do things for me. This is a little bit harder than I expected.
Yeah. It is. Because look, even me trying to do it myself and everything.
It's smooth. You got it. I'm over here. I'm struggling. I'm like, wait a minute. Did the light shift? Oh, I got to touch the phone for this thing. Like I'm in here learning things, right?
Look, but it's okay though. It's okay because when you, like you said, when you have the resources, man, utilize it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of burning yourself out. So what does a day-to-day look like for you?
Okay. All right. That's interesting. A day for me can look different anyway, but let me kind of give you insight. So I can tell you the things that stay, right? So every day starts with usually a prayer and a stillness for me, right? Okay. So I wake up before whatever I have to do that day. I try to get up an hour before that. I open up my Bible. I'm a woman that believes, right? So I open up my Bible. I read the Bible right now. I'm on a journey to read it in a year again. Right? Okay. So it's like broken down into a plan. So I wake up, I get that in, and then I talk to the man. Right? I talk to him and I let him know, like, listen, I know, you know, I'm walking into the day, right? God, the day, right? Don't let my feet walk into territories they shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah, amen
right?
to that.
I don't need no extra struggles.
Amen.
But also don't let me just be this person looking for all the benefits of the day, right? Teach me something today. Show me something today. And when you're done doing all that part, make sure I impact somebody today. Every day. I want to impact someone every day. I want to see his hand every day. This morning when I woke up and I was driving my daughter to school, I'd said that and I looked out the window and I saw a tree sitting to the side and how it was blooming. I was like, man, you a bad man. You know what I mean? Like, look at how that flows. Yeah. Look at how beautiful. You painted a picture without painting the picture. So I think it starts there. And then, of course, I get the before the loudness comes in, right? Then I start getting the strategy calls, and then I have the team meetings. Then I have like the client briefings, and then like days like today, then I have things worked into the schedule like a podcast, and then I'm still a mom, right? So by that time school is ending, so whether I'm home or not, I got to make sure that the kids are home and that they've ate and they got everything. So my days are generally very long, but they're always intentional and they always come with purpose.
Amen. Amen. She out here doing it. Hold on. Let me give her a little snap here.
That's the day for me. And it ends, it generally ends, right? And I got to get better about this. It generally ends the same way with actual devotionals. That's my fun time, right? I'm a reader.
Okay.
So I like to give me a good old book or, and it's not always spiritual based. Like I'm listening to 1619 again, that podcast, right? So maybe it's a little bit of that, right? And then I obviously do my best to wrap it up with my devotional and a little bit of prayer. So I would like to start my day there. I like to end my day there because life is loud and I like to silence it. I need that quiet time.
Yes. Yeah. And I definitely agree with that quiet time. Either you get it in early in the morning when everybody's sleeping, or you get it in at nighttime when everybody's sleeping. Because during the middle, it's going to be notifications, phone calls.
And then a workout that I have to get in. I'm like, it really, like, I'm like, health is wealth. Right? So that's in there. So like all of these things that I'm having to throw in outside the meetings and everything. So my day to day, I'm a project-based person, which means there's always probably a project or something that I'm working on. So my days can look very different. So I try to have the stability, which is the 2 quiet times, right? Time with my kids, even if it's just a 30-minute conversation. And then that workout. And then everything else outside of that, complete madness. Complete madness.
Man, you make it look so easy. You make it sound like it's just easy, like it's just a check off the list. Okay, off the list.
It's a pattern. It's a flow. That's all it is.
Okay. So with multiple roles as a strategist, consultant, podcast host, mother, all the above, how do you maintain balance and prevent burnout?
So I've learned that balance is in equal parts. That's insane, right? So balance is more about sacred priorities, like those that I told you, the things that I know have to fit, right? And I don't try to do it all. I'm not that human. I know people think I'm not the human that's like, oh my God, my checklist got 32 things on it today. It's like, yeah, that checklist got 32 things on it today. Like ain't no way I was gonna ever make that, right? So I don't do that. So I do what's divine in the season. That's got to be done, right?
Okay.
That I'm called to, that's a thing, right? And then I delegate the rest of it. Like it's like strategy, right? And I don't apologize for protecting my space, right? So boundaries are definitely my blueprint. So I'll have like a client and everything's crazy and they blowing me up and I'll say, hey, listen, scheduled to talk to you on Friday.
Yeah.
Shoot me an email. I'll take a look at it.
There
if it's real bad, I'll deal with it. And I may not deal with it. I may have someone who I can call that's going to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
But the things that are divine, that are called in that season that I have to take care of, like right now I'm building this TV project. I got to make time for that or that don't happen, right? I got to read that script. I got to go over the things, right?
Yeah.
As the executive producer, I got to make sure that this is together. I got to do that, right?
Yeah.
My kids, I got to do that.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
My time with God, I got to do that, right? And then everything else I put in there, but I definitely prioritize and I set boundaries, but there's no such thing as balance and there's no such thing as getting it all the way right. And I'm okay with that. I'm like, okay. My friend asked me this morning, she said, what you gonna do when that man comes along and you have a man? I said, I guess he one of the divine things. He gonna have to get it. And she just thought that was so funny. She was just like, yeah. She's like, yeah, you're right, right? 'Cause she married and she's like picking my brain to figure it out. I was like, you gotta take care of him. So you wake up, you pray, then you look at him, you ask him, what do you need today? You literally obligated to what he needs. Even before you got there and look at the kids, what can I do to make your day better?
Yeah.
He gonna give you a list. You gonna tell him what you can accomplish on that list, and then now you got to go do the other things. And she was like, oh, that's the way I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like, yeah. Just ask him, wake him up. If you sleep, what's up? What do you need today? How can I make your life better today? Right? I'm devoted to you. It starts there. You got God, you got him. Then you walk out the door and you ask those kids, you know what they need.
Yeah.
You got to feed them and grow them and water them and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then you go deal with the hassle and the bustle. And then if he said, like, I need you at the house at 7, now you got a new boundary. Look, I got to get at the house at 7. The man hungry. I gotta,
He got to eat.
but that's what it is. And it's not going to look perfect. And you're going to fail a lot in all those categories. And that's what it is. That's what balance is.
I love it. And to piggyback on like the boundaries and all that, shoot, for me, I really didn't know what, I really didn't protect my, self-care or boundaries or anything, because mine was just out the door. It's just as of recent, that I really just started, self-care. And, people just tell it like, like my circle of friends will tell me, hey, bro, when you gonna take time for yourself? When you gonna take a little mini vacation?
I was the queen of like no boundaries.
Really?
Like, I probably needed a crown and everything. I think it's probably like the queen. Like, it was a throne at one point where my life revolved around everyone else. And I think the hardest lesson that I learned, you can only give people as much as you can give yourself. Facts. You don't think that, right? Because you're giving them the world. You're like, oh, they ain't appreciate it. I'm giving them the world. They can't. Like, it's literally impossible. The energy that you can give starts with you.
Yes.
So you think you're giving people the world and you're not, right? And you're discounting yourself every time. And then you're like, well, every time I need somebody, ain't nobody here for me. You told them not to be there.
Sheesh.
Right. So once I started realizing that, I started taking that accountability for myself, and I started saying, oh, so I don't feel like anyone shows up for me. Oh, okay. They don't. You know why? Because I show up for everyone else. They don't realize I have needs. They like, she don't got no needs. She always here.
She always here. Yeah.
She don't have no needs. She, she ain't never hungry when I go get something to eat. When I offer to buy it for her, she worried about that I couldn't pay my bill last week and telling me it's okay. Right? She's so overly concerned with me that their perception has now become, you don't have a need. Now you ruining friendships and lifelong bonds that could have been there. You would have just had boundaries. Boundaries save relationships. Boundaries build friendships. Boundaries build relationships. If you do not have boundaries, then you're probably walking out on some of the people that are your core tribe because there wasn't a boundary there.
Man, hey, y'all, shoot, y'all listen to this, man. She got the mic going left, right, up, down. Hold on. So your foundation has repeatedly, I say, people, created over 1 million in financial impact. Like $1 million, y'all. 1 million
since it was created.
Can you elaborate on its mission and the communities it serves?
Yes, and I say this with gratitude, not ego. The foundation's mission is generational healing and economic empowerment. Okay. That's the goal, right? So we focus on women of color, survivors of trauma, and underserved youth, the hungry, and the homeless, right? So we go from trauma recovery to scholarship funds to political pipeline fueling, and we just don't serve needs. We build futures. So that can look like a lot of things. I've partnered with people and went into communities during COVID time and provided essential needs and like Brothers Produce. We put food into the community. Like we had some of my clients, the high-end A-listers, give me large amounts of money, and they had a challenge calling other celebrities to feed their cities. And I got to partner with the Ricky Davis Foundation, and I got to travel with them, and we traveled everywhere. I mean, we had Big Sean, Janae, we had Nick Cannon, Pusha T, we had the big weights. So I've done it in that way, but I've also taken time out to build resources for people, right? So that means like I have helped people start 501c3s and apply and get those grants, right? I dedicate time to going into different universities to teach, right? Donating that time and things. So I think how we've constantly raised it is that we really do the work and really good partnerships, but we really do the work. So when you do the work, then people are willing to donate and give. And I actually solicitate very few donations from like the world, more or less. I raise it. I get it from grants. I get it from people who have it to give. I partner with organizations, and we've just been able to, since 2020, maybe, to raise. Don't look. My board is gonna be like, girl. Since that year to consistently every year to hit about the $1 million mark in resources or whatever we've done or given to the community. We're always aiming for that. So in total, we've 5 to 7 million into that I've had my handprint and putting into the world. You know, whether it's free shoes or whatever it is. Yeah.
Man, God is truly gonna bless you and your team and the people around you and the people that surround themselves around you as well. For doing the great
That's
things.
always the goal. Overflow. I'm like, I never just want just enough. I'm like, God, run my cup over.
Yeah,
run it over till it start drowning the people around me, and then they could run over. Now they got to run. You know, that's. I think people talk a lot about someone's curses or bad energy getting on you, but people don't talk enough about the blessings and the overflow. See, if you really blessed, you know you can feel blessed, but you're not blessed into whatever calling is on your life is impacting people around you. When you get to impacting people around you, when you can have some money, but if everybody else around you don't have no money, you probably not blessed, right? You just probably figured out a way to do something.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're blessed, but not blessed at the capacity you should. I think God is a God of overflow. Life is a life of overflow. So you know you're getting it right when everybody surrounded by you is feeling it. Right?
It's feeling it, yeah.
Like, all my friends be having nonprofits and getting grants. And if I made one celebrity, 10 more came after it. Whatever celebrity I touched, he reached out and touched other people. Right? Like, that's who I am, right? And I think that's the true epitome of what a blessing is, of being blessed. Being blessed means the tribe got to be affected, and the tribe should affect another tribe and another tribe and another tribe.
Generational wealth and blessings.
That's what it should look like.
Man, I love to hear
blessings.
Yes, yes. So what advice would you offer to individuals aspiring to enter the fields of public relations or political strategy?
You need to learn how to listen. The art of listening is something that a lot of people don't have. We talk a lot about communication. I don't know how to communicate. They got ChatGPT for that.
Yeah.
Right. But nothing tells you how to listen. And you can't use software at the moment. You need to know how to listen. You need to listen to really hear what someone is saying to you. So for anyone, I would say, start by mastering the art of listening. Then learn how to turn insight, your thoughts, the things you see, into influence, right? So whatever's in you, learn how to put that into the world. That's how influence is, right? And influence other people to do, believe, or, champion whatever it is for you. Okay. And then whether you're pitching to media or managing a movement, your voice only matters if it's backed by research, results, and respect.
Ooh, that respect part.
And protect your integrity. Integrity, I'm big on that. And in all fields, right? Reputation isn't just currency; it's everything, right? So it's a lot of people that don't like me. It ain't people that's gonna tell you that I'm not good for my job. Right. Yeah. There's a lot of people that's like, oh, I can't stand her. Yeah. Right. She get on my nerves. And then you'll turn around and say, oh, does she have this client? Did she do this? They'll be like, oh, no. She good for the, If she touch it, it's gold. Yeah. She got the Midas touch. Amen. And it's not that. It's that I do the work. If they don't like me, I have some old clients that's like, man, she stopped working with me. Oh, I feel like I lost my money. And the person will be like, well, did you feel like she couldn't do the job? No, she could have. And the story behind that is that I couldn't get your story out there because you wouldn't do what you're supposed to do. I found out there was lies, there was traumas, there was issues. So at this point, I can't move you forward. You know what I'm saying? Or either you stole somebody else's money to pay it. So I got to give their money back to them because that integrity factor. But even if you go sit down and talk to them, they're going to be like, oh, no, she the GOAT. I'm mad because she the GOAT. And she didn't do the job for me. She walked away, I'm going to do the job. Yeah.
Yeah. And for you to be able to just walk away like that, because most people would just say, nah, I'm going to still do it. They already paid me and all that.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so if like that, my contracts and things are really strict. My conversations are very, very strict. I'm really, really careful. Now, I don't believe in taking people's money, right? Only case that's going to happen if I've done work. So like, for instance, I had a client, I had pitched and did everything, and what I was pitching for them was stolen from another creator. So I've done all this work.
Dang.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I've done the work. And I had another client. She was like the singer, and she's stolen beats, like the beats, so now my firm is getting threats from copyright and then other people said licensing, hey, you stole this beat, this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just put it out there in the publicist. Or the strategist. So obviously, I can't give you your money back for all the work and manpower that we put in, right? If I've done no work and nothing has happened, then I'm the queen of like giving their money back. People hate that I'm like that. I was literally, I'm good. But if the work has come in and you presented an integrity issue, or I've had people pay me from, people do things, right? I've had people pay me out of accounts that did not belong to them.
That's crazy work. I've never heard of that.
It's a female. She's dating a dude. She used all his credit cards and stuff like that. So, like, you know, I'm like, let me call the police real quick. The police say, let me give it back to you, but let me make sure somebody witnesses me giving this back. You know what I'm saying? And those are very few cases. I've had very few bad cases. And I think that speaks to my firm as a whole. I've had maybe like out of 1,000+ clients that I've had maybe at the max 6 or 7 bad situations like that. And I just named the bulk of them. That's it, you know. That's that's like a 1 percentile. That don't even happen in big business, right? So, but yeah, I do have those moments, and I'm the queen of I'm good. Like they'll be like, oh, I can fix it, I can explain, and I'll hear the explanation. But if it doesn't, I gotta let you go. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not just dangerous to me, you're dangerous to every client and everybody I touch after that, right? I can't carry that with me. Right. So, you know. Because
word of mouth and things do spread fast.
That's reputation. That's their reputation, right? So I've had clients that had the other one, he had like this sexual assault case pending. He was definitely 100% guilty of what had happened, and at this point he's been convicted. And I mean, it was just like proof there, and he was just like, oh, you stopped working with me. And I'm like,
well, yeah, like
got you. You know what I mean? Like, what you want me to do, right? And I think a lot of people who really first get into business, you don't realize if you're working with a client and you're tied in, there's this contracts there. The contracts and other things that they breach or investments that they get from people, those people can then come after you because you're profiting off of whatever that is. Like it's almost like a partnership. That's the thing with independent firms and people like that. You got to understand, if you're not under big business, sometimes you're not protected, right? There's insurance and things in places, but you'd be surprised at how crafty lawyers can be. To get what they need back from the person who did it. So I don't tie myself to that. And listen, any of them 3 letters, CIA, IRS, FBI, they come and look for you. I want you to understand, I'm out. You understand? I don't play with the 3 letters by any means. The alphabet? Oh no, you can have that.
Yeah.
You know. Contract over.
I definitely feel that. Yes. Definitely got to cut ties.
Yeah, none of that.
So looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in your career?
Yeah, I would have rested sooner. Yeah. I used to think that rest was weakness. You know, now I know it's wisdom. Rest is wisdom, right? And I also would have trusted my instincts more. So all these people that I just kind of named to you, like my gut told me at the beginning, like, don't do it. I did it anyway, right? So the moments I doubted myself were the moments I delayed my destiny. You can't stop your destiny from coming to pass, but I do think you can delay where you were supposed to be. Like when you get to the place and you're like, oh, this is where I should have been all along. And all those roadblocks along the way, it was because you didn't trust your instincts. You know, but I don't live in regret. I don't believe necessarily in regrets. So I turn every moment into what I told you, that lesson. It's not a failure. It's like the lesson. But if it was anything I could have did at the beginning, I would have went to sleep. I would have like put the phone down. I would have watched a little TV, you know, and I would have just definitely trusted my gut a lot more. And I definitely trust it now. Like I can tell by the way you walk up to me, it ain't. I'm gonna get out the way.
It ain't right.
How great you are, what you have, what you drive, and what you do, what you don't, you know what I mean? Like I trust that more. I lean into me a lot more. You know,
and I believe that also goes with like you said, your gut, but also reading energy. You know, that's
and it's there for you to do it because we're all energy and we carry it.
Yes,
right? And it may not even be. I learned, man. I was telling my son this a couple of days ago. He was having a situation at school. It was a good situation, but he was just talking about this other kid in particular. You know. And he's like, he's a good person. It's just that, I don't know. It's just something off. And I said to my son, Yeah, just because they're not good for you, the God thing isn't always the good thing. So what your God aligned to do, or who you're aligned to be, or wherever you're going, doesn't make everyone who comes around you an enemy. You know, everyone that does something wrong to you isn't your enemy. Everyone that does something good for you isn't your friend. And that's a lesson that I try to instill in my son. Just because somebody did something bad didn't mean that they're enemy. They made a decision in the time, probably what worked for them. Just because somebody's sitting there high-fiving you also does not make them your friend.
Facts.
A lot of times it makes them Judas.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is just really understanding that just because a person is good doesn't mean they're the person for your life, for your project, for your business. Doesn't make it so. You know what I mean?
Man.
I think people don't realize that enough.
Nah, you man, you making me look back in life right now. Like, hold on, because you know, when somebody, you know, and like you said, it's more of wisdom. When somebody do something bad to you, man, you thinking, man, okay, you want to see me fail and fall, but like you said, at that moment,
It's just making a decision.
It's just making a decision.
And maybe that was a decision or boundary or something that they needed to do that don't make them a bad person. Just makes them not the person for that moment.
Yes, and you know, and that's why I always say, you know, God opened up my spiritual eyes and ears so I can really look at the situation before I react.
Yeah.
Because your reaction, you can either match their energy, or you can just, you know what, I'm not going to feed into this, because if I feed into this and I do what the enemy wants me to do, now I've just became what you are, or I've lowered myself to a point where now I'm not who I really, you know.
Not just that, when fighting monsters, it's important to never become one. If you become a monster too, you're a monster. So both of y'all bad. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Right? I teach my kids that too. But I think I had like the client that I'm telling you about, who used somebody else's card and stuff like that. I remember her saying to other people, she was like, oh, she talked about God, she talked about prayer, she talked about she was a believer, but she just left me out in the cold. And in her small head, maybe it made me a bad person to her. I'm not a bad person. Probably one of the better good people that most people meet. And people say that, like, oh, you work, and because I work to be a good person, right? I value being a good person. And I don't mean just a good person that just gives people away, give things away and money away. I mean, I'm a good person. I care about people on the planet, not just my circle. I work to be good. I work to have integrity. I work to have values, right? No one's got to tell me I'm a good person. I know I am, right? So, but in her head, and I'm like, yeah, but you want me to go to jail and fight with the police to keep the money and give it back to you on the side when it didn't come from you? You know what I'm saying? So in her head, whatever it was for her didn't make me a bad person. It just meant I made a decision that, you know, I have kids, I have a life, I have things. The wrong thing was done here. It's not my job to even sort out this thing, right? So I'm going to do whatever legally makes sense. And maybe that don't feel good for her. That didn't turn me into a bad person. I tell my son, you're always on the side of something where you're making a decision doesn't make people bad people, right? And I try to remember when I've been in those situations where people would probably see me as the monster. When I wasn't a monster, I was a human being making a decision that made the most sense. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
So.
You speaking volumes on that, heavy, because that's all you really can do, and just keep on moving with life.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, because I used to be one that used to just dwell on the past, or dwell on things that happened, and just try to replay it in my mind. And it's like, no, you can't do that. You just got to keep on moving, because look, time ain't waiting for nobody.
Yeah. And even if you were a bad person in that moment, that's the point of life, for you to grow.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that. People are like, oh, I did all these terrible things. Yeah, now learn from it. But you can't go back and change it. I think the most important things we have to do is, instead of going back and ruminating, let it plan over and over, it's just be where you are, right? And if you find a moment where you are thinking about those old things or whatever, why am I thinking about that? Why do I feel like that, right? Like, explore that present moment of why you're feeling like that, why you're thinking about it, why you're playing with it, and fix that and move forward. 'Cause you can't go back and do nothing about that, right? You can definitely say, this is the last day I let myself hold myself hostage to that bad decision that I made.
You speaking volumes.
I can't hold myself hostage to that anymore. It was bad. It did suck. I can't do nothing about it.
Yeah. And like you said, it comes from forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've recently learned to just forgive yourself and just move on, man.
Yeah.
Just forgive yourself, move on, and just shoot. just keep praying. You know what I'm
Forgive
saying?
everybody but yourself. That's always wild to me.
Yeah.
And actually, that just means that you're really not forgiving other people either. Is you're forgiving them on the surface level of forgiveness. Because if you can't forgive you, the person you have to deal with every day, you're not truly forgiving other people. And that's why you'll see a lot of people say, I forgive you. And then the argument pops up and they like, remember when?
Yeah. Yes.
I may have forgave you, but my memory ain't going nowhere. Nah, you ain't forgive me if your memory's still there, because that should invoke a reaction out of you ever again. Once, and see, that's the thing. People think forgiveness. I have told people before, like, yeah, kid, I don't forgive you yet, because I know that it's still getting an emotional response from me. So I couldn't have forgiven you, because every time I think about it, I be wanting to snap. I'm triggered, right? I'm still triggered by to that capacity that it invokes a moment. You can be triggered and nothing happens, but when you're triggered and it changes how you feel that day, how I'm texting you, now you got 3 paragraphs. That's not forgiveness. You know what I mean? Because forgiveness is just like, yeah, you did it. I see it. I felt it. I release it. And it's release, right? So when we get into the next argument, even if it's the exact same thing, you may be able to acknowledge, I see a pattern here. But it shouldn't be like, and at 3:56 the last time you you gotta, it's probably rough, right? So I'm very good at being like, look, I have planned to forgive you. I want to get over what happened. I haven't yet. It's not gonna, I don't hate you. I don't want to hurt you, but I want you to understand this is still invoking some extreme emotions from me. So I probably need to set some boundaries with you until I can get over this hump.
A day by day.
There.
Yep, a day by day process.
Yeah, I'm real good at that. I ain't there.
Yeah.
Like you may be there. I ain't there, right? And it's sometimes it's been the smallest thing ever. With the person that didn't know how much I valued them. And I had to go and explore that with myself. Like, did you overly value? Is this a potential thing that you saw? Right. And I have to explore that, because the thing about it is you have situations where people can evolve and you don't want to break it more. So you have to step back and figure that out and decide, okay, this is a situation that if I forgive it, it can evolve, or I can forgive this and I got to be done with you. But you don't know that if you still like playing in that dirty pool of what it's feeling like. So I'm real good at being like, I don't forgive you. My mom and them be like, girl, like, you been like that your whole life. They used to be like, hug and make up. I don't want to hug them. Yeah. Because I ain't ready to make up.
Not yet.
My mom used to be like, hug her. Like, yeah, but that don't feel real to me. I've always been authentic. Like, I always been like, I don't want to hug them. So they hugging me, my arms to my side. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Right. And as I got older, I realized that's who I am. I like that about me. Okay. I like that I'm not like, I don't just do stuff because it's the norm, because it looks right, because that's what forgiveness is supposed to be like. Nah, bro, let me forgive you. Don't hug me. Don't, you stay over there. I'm going to stay over here, right? That's fair.
Okay. Definitely understand it.
I'm a big dog, like living, smoking for the hell of it. Gas bait max, home service. All you motherfuckers snakes, but I'm living the same. I'm a big dog.
How do you personally define success, and has that definition evolved over time?
Success for me used to be applause. How many awards and gifts that I can get, and I got them. Right? Okay, and I didn't just get them to get them. I got a lot of awards to show that I am who I say I am. Right. Okay. So it used to be that. It used to be applause. Now it's alignment. If what I'm doing honors God, heals people, and stretches my legacy. Is that what I want to say? Yeah, that's what success feels like for me, right? Okay. If that's what's happening, like success didn't become a place that I have to reach. It's like an active thing, right? I'm like, bro, I'm successful right now, right? Because I've hit those points, right? And I've had the magazine covers, right? Okay. I've had the awards. It's articles. You know, I've had the viral moments. Been on TMZ, breaking up fights between two of the biggest rappers in the city.
Oh, you know? Yeah?
Yeah. I think the real win, though, is being free, being whole, actually being happy, and being exactly who I'm created to be. If I'm there, I'm already successful. The rest of this stuff is things you're accomplishing that don't have nothing to do with your success. Right?
Okay.
The degrees and the education, I don't even talk about that stuff. Those are things that I wouldn't accomplish. But my success as a whole is about success as a person. Right? It's building my legacy. I'm stretching my legacy right now. I mean, it's stretched.
Yeah.
Right? My legacy's stretched right now. You know, God feel good with me right now, right? People healing right now, right? I'm successful. I'm successful. Right?
Amen.
I'm successful. I've reached that success.
I love that. I definitely love that for you, for real. You definitely are speaking volumes. So, I know we talked about the burnout and everything, but what does self-care really look like to you? Like, do you go on vacations? Do you just take like a little stay? Do you do like a staycation? What does self-care look like to you?
Self-care looks different for me all the time, but truly self-care for me is something you probably could see during the interview. I'm a deep person. So self-care for me has to be spiritual first, right? If my spirit is uneasy, that spa day and that vacation, I like to travel. I like to travel, right? I like to travel, right? That's not going to do nothing for me if my spirit is uneasy. You can take me to every spa, rub me, do my face. You can do all kinds of things. I mean, the best food, the beautiful sky, where the water is so blue, like Beyonce would say, it doesn't matter if my spirit isn't good, right? So it's praying with my shoes off on the beach in the sand, feeling the earth, right?
Yeah.
A book in my hand in the middle of a boat, laid back, looking at the sky and then looking at the words on the pages and some deep words. I need the Maya Angelou. I need to read the poem and feel the poem.
Yeah.
Right? I am a woman. Like I'm phenomenally, right? I need that in the water, right? It's the therapy of journaling. Like when I pick up a pen and what I can create and put on the page and come back and read it later and feel what I was feeling in that moment, how deep it was, how good it felt, how it flowed, how crazy my handwriting was, but how beautiful the words were.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's laughing with people that see me. It's the worst, the darkest joke ever that I can tell. Right? And my friends like, was that a trafficking joke? And we laughing, right? It's silence. Because sometimes I've had to heal, and healing is loud sometimes, and it happens when nobody's watching. So it's healing quietly because I've healed loudly. I've healed with the tears and things like that. That's what self-care is for me. Self-care for me looks like that. Self-care for me looks spiritual. It looks like a Lauryn Hill album with a glass of wine, and maybe I'm sitting in the middle of the floor in my dirty room with clothes everywhere, but Lauren doing what she do with this one album that she got. You know what I'm saying? That's self-care for me, right? It's good, right? Self-care for me is real deep like that. Outside of that, I do travel and things like that's not self-care for me, right? That's just what I need.
Yeah.
I just got to put that into the routine, right? But yeah, self-care for me is the water being blue, God being present, my skin feeling good against the heat, and me just being like, hey, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. So we're gonna tap into the vacations and the food, because I'm definitely a foodie. All right. So for the vacations, what is your top 3 places that you have enjoyed? Top 3 places that you traveled to that is just wow. I wouldn't mind going back again.
Ooh.
Or it don't have to be top 3.
I've been around the earth. Bali is always like, Bali's always really, really nice. The Maldives was like up there, really, really up there. It was like, is that water above me? Like, what is like?
Really?
Yeah, that was really, really nice. What do you say? Bushcane Bay in Florida is real nice too on the water at night.
Really?
Those would probably be like my top 3 because I'm a water girl. I don't like to be in the water. I like to see that the water is there, like the different color water. Those would probably be like my top 3. Bali is just really good because Bali Bali's energy around the whole place is calming. When you step off the plane in Bali, you know you're in Bali. You know,
Really? It's like
I
that.
don't care which airport you're at, or if you fly private or whatever. When you like, oh, I'm in Bali, because Bali feels like it's calm, right? So those would probably be like my top three. Those are my top three. It's food. I'm gonna try the food. I'm that kind of person. Like they be like, this is. Don't tell me what it is. That might creep me out. Let me just try.
Let me just
It look like it could possibly taste good. And maybe it don't look like it tastes good. It's a delicacy. Pass it here, right? I'm gonna eat. Like I'm gonna do that. Like if I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna have a dinner when I'm in another country.
Yeah.
Like everybody, let's go. We gotta go.
Yeah,
and
we
try.
got- yeah.
But yeah, those would probably be the three, my top three. Where I'm going this summer. Like what? I'm every summer at least got to touch them spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so food places in Houston for all the listeners, so they can know, like, man, I gotta try this out. What's some of your top restaurants that you would say, look, I recommend that y'all go here?
I'm gonna go to Mastro's if I don't go nowhere else. I'm going to Mastro's. I'm sorry if you have not been to Mastro's. Try the appetizers if that's all you want. Gotta go to Mastro's. The Warwick is always my place of choice. I do my birthday parties there. I go to the Warwick. The Warwick food just gonna hit. Right?
Okay.
You can try all kinds of crazy stuff that I think they have, like this the crawfish funnel cake or something like that they got right now. I mean, not the crawfish, the crab legs and funnel cake. I'm going when I leave. So the Warwick for sure, Mastro's for sure. You can't get it wrong here though. Eddie V's is another one that I'm a hop to. I'm a always go there. You can't get it wrong in Houston.
Okay.
It's hard to get it
Yeah.
wrong in Houston, right?
Yeah.
But those would probably be the top three that if I'm hungry, but I want my food to be good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that. So my thing is like, I don't just want the food. I want the food to be good. That's big for me, right?
Yes.
So yeah, those would probably be like my top three in Houston. I have a lot. I eat. So
That is
Juliet,
good.
I'm gonna eat. Like I go to all the spots. I'm trying all Black Bear is good. I mean, just depending on what you want, I'm gonna go eat. But if I'm going and I want a nice crab cake, a really good steak, or some lamb chops, those top three. That's
Top
what I'm
three.
doing. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope y'all listening up, man. Shoot. So if y'all ever decide to come to Houston, or if you already in Houston, you ain't tried none of them places, go ahead and tap in.
Absolutely.
But man, that concludes our episode of the Dannyola Show, where we don't judge, we love, we appreciate, we elevate, and we motivate. Yet again, we got the powerhouse, Dr. Shatonna J. Nelson,
Thank you for
y'all.
having me.
And we are